is the controller for the Nintendo 64, and it gets, to put it mildly, a lot of hate online, and is often referred to as the worst controller of all time. But I think that's a load of rubbish, so here's a defense for the N64's controller. Let's start with the obvious, that three-pronged design that makes it look more like a tool for gardening than for gaming.
And trust me, it doesn't make a very good one.
Now, most of the internet will tell you that this design is just uncomfortable and awkward to hold, but if anything, it's the most big-brain move in the entirety of controller development. I'm stuttering just thinking about how amazing it is. Unlike most of the controllers that came before, we finally have somewhere to put your fingers, rather than just grabbing onto thin air, like you would have to do with previous generations. And it does all this while still giving you access to all of those beautiful buttons. And of course we have the defining feature in this gaming generation, the joystick. Granted, joysticks weren't really a new thing, but now at least you'd only have to use one thumb as opposed to your entire hand just to move them. And it's placed in almost the perfect position for where your thumb would be, arguably in a much more natural position than most modern controllers are in. And you can see a lot of the N64's design in these modern controllers, as it was this controller and this generation that made the left thumb the most powerful index a gamer can own. On the right hand stick we have the face buttons, A and B, placed the right way round, check the doobly-doo, nestled right below the thumb, and those secondary C buttons just above. And these beautiful yellow dots were used in a billion creative ways, from Ocarina of Time's quick item select to Mario 64's camera controls.
Look, I never said I was any good at these video games.
And now, let's look over to the left-hand stick, the third and most neglected prong of this gardening fork. The D-pad isn't the best, but isn't this a mark of what's to come? Ever since the N64, the D-pad has become less and less important in the new world of 3D gaming, being reduced to more of a side feature. So the N64 controller is a visionary piece of work in that respect. Now we get to the most important part of any hot piece of work, its backside. And it's here we get the legendary Z button. This thing is great. Never has the idea of a trigger button been more accurate, and possibly never will be again. Your index finger on the trigger does a great amount for the limited number of first-person shooters on the console, but I can tell you it does GoldenEye a world of good. You know, Nintendo should have made a really 90s advert using these controllers for a shootout. Maybe it would have looked something like this. Finally, I want to talk about a part of controllers that is oh so relevant today with Nintendo's more recent output. This controller lasts forever. It may not be elegant, but this is at Nokia level when it comes to durability. Maybe I should put it to the test. Maybe not.
And there we have it. Hopefully you've enjoyed this slightly self-indulgent rant about what I think is the greatest controller of all time. Now, if you excuse me, it turns out my Mario 64 save file only has 100 stars on it. I better correct that.